Gandhi has rightly pointed out that nature has all the resources to meet the human need, but not human greed. But we human beings have chosen greed over environmental principles, and now we are facing the repercussions. But a man has decided to change all this. But this change has costed him the most viable years of his life, financial turmoil, and lot more. He is none other than Prashant Lingam Garu, the founder of Bamboo House. He is joining us today. But before we get into the show, if you like our videos, please like, share, and subscribe to My Startup TV. And also check our social media handles Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And also check our webpage www.mystartuptv.in. Welcome to Inspire Me Today. I'm your host Savera. Welcome Prashant Lingam Garu. Welcome to Inspire Me Today.
For having me on your show.
So, the first question I want to ask you is about the bamboo house. Can you please tell me about the bamboo house in your words?
Yeah, Bamboo House is an accidental venture. It's not a planned venture where we thought we will start a startup and go X, A, B, A to Z module. It was not so. It all happened after the third month of our marriage. So my better half, Aruna, she's also the co-founder of the organization. She wanted a sofa set for the house. So the search for having an eco-friendly sofa set for the house led to the birth of Bamboo House India. So in small words, that's how the inception happened, just by chance.
That's wonderful, sir. We've also known that you have had to face a lot of financial turmoil. Can you please comment about the financial condition in India and how people are finding it hard to find the capital? And how did you face all these issues?
Yeah, Savera, it was extremely tough because we were going against the tide. We went to a social business that too in 2006. Today, social entrepreneurship, or from the last decade or something, we are listening too much about startups, starting up, capital, venture capital, angel funding. These are all something a last decade word, but we started a decade and a half back. We never got to listen all these things, and it was a social business. And subsequently, we wanted to build houses with bamboo, which was not existing. The model was not existing. Nobody had an idea, so we just went fishing, and by the end of third year of our operations, we got into a debt of nearly 60 lakhs. We did all the mistakes one can't even imagine of. Because we were dealing with tribals in forest areas. We were trying to work with the raw material which had forest issues and restrictions. Then, of course, in areas around a decade and a half, there was no road lines, there was no telecommunication, and WhatsApp and all is like quite new. It's not, at least 15 years back, we never had all these things. And we used to work on postcards with our communities there. We used to write a postcard and drop in the post office. So that's how the model was. So yeah, all the mistakes one can think of we did, and we burned 60 lakhs, and it came to a point where we were on the verge of committing suicide because financially it was much beyond our ability to handle a loss of 60 lakhs. We took money from, where all we could take, and no bank was coming forward because our model was such. So we were talking in the air that we want to build bamboo house because there was none on the ground. Even after 36 months, there was not even a single bamboo house we had built. So yeah, all these challenges literally brought us to the roads.
Many a times you might have felt like quitting. What did you tell yourself? How did you move forward with this?
Yeah, Savera, means, the situation was not only financial. Financial was definitely one part of not having capital, nobody investing in you, nobody coming buying your idea. That was one. And secondary, we got into debt of 60 lakhs. And third was we lost around 6 loved ones in the span of 36 months in which we were in our startup. I lost my father, I lost my father-in-law, my aunt, my grandfather, two of my grandfathers, my grandmother, and one of my uncle. So, when you're starting up, more than anything else, you need people around you who believe in you or who are willing to stand by you. So we lost all these people. So that was another emotional complete wreck we were in. And I was bedridden for 1.5 months. My co-founder was bedridden for 1.5 months. She had post-pregnancy complications, so she was bedridden. So I had an ankle fracture. I was bedridden for 1.5 lakhs. So we had literally nothing to eat for almost 2 years. It's hardly 1 meal a day or 1 meal in 2 days. That was the situation. So the only thing which kept us going was, sometimes you say there is something called sixth sense, or maybe some voice where you can only listen, you can't see, which kept us telling that this will work out, just hold on. this will work out, because there was no logic in our idea. Even today, a lot of people say there's no logic in this idea. There's no business in this, but somewhere something kept us that keep going. Something will, something will fall in place. That's a sixth sense. That's all. So what was it? I don't know. So that was the only thing. Some gut feel, you can say. You can say intuition. We were very clear. Just it will work out. How, we had no idea. Yeah, but yeah, that's how things fell into. Yeah.
That really moved me, sir. So, can you please tell me, on a lighter note, can you please tell me about your recent accomplishment from National Law University? You have done the diploma course. Can you please tell us about the course?
Oh, okay. No, actually, all these years from 2000, three, of six we started. So I'm a dropout MBA. I didn't finish my last semester of Usmania University. I never did it because at that time I was not interested in studies. I thought I'll not do. So this COVID year, I thought, why don't I get back to my studies and complete my masters? And especially I am the kind of work I'm involved in is more related to urban planning, urban and environment and all these things. So that's why I thought, okay, let me take this year, get back to studies, learn more about the environment in which I am working. Though I'm working, I don't have the theoretical knowledge. Maybe I'm practically, I know everything. That's why I got into the national school, and that's where I'm doing my master's right now in environmental law. So I hope I'll be able to finish. I've joined. I don't know, my timelines don't permit me, but I'm trying my best.
That's really wonderful, sir. People studying after a point of time makes all of us students and all the people out there, it really gives them the push to study and enrich their skill set too. So, can you please also tell us what are the problems of entrepreneurs in marketing the products, and how did you have to face with a product that was really new into the market?
See, first thing, Savera, what I would like to, share my learnings or my experiences or my failures to the listeners is, it is not necessary to start up, or there's no need to start up unless and until there is an inner call. I don't, there's no point, because there is a lot of buzz going on around every day. You see somebody being written off that they have raised funds. I should also start. For me, a startup is a lifestyle. It is not an employment or a job. It's a lifestyle. Somebody takes some profession for a life. I have chosen this. So I would say, if it's and for me it was an inner call, because when I was young, it was impossible for me to sit in the school. Means I never liked somebody bossing over me, somebody dictating me. So it was something which was there from the childhood. So it continued. At one point of time, I thought that I can't do a job under someone where somebody is directing me every day. So maybe you can say so that's how started. Startup happened to me. It was not forced on me. I never got, because my friend is doing, he's earning more money. Those were not the reason. Today also, if I go for an employment, maybe I can earn more, but I don't go because I'm happy. Because most important thing is being happy and happy what I'm doing. Even if the money is less, I'm very happy with it. So that's what I would like to share. Yes, challenges, there are many. It's not an easy line. Entrepreneurship is it's extremely tough. It's a lonely journey. You don't have Sundays, you don't have family holidays, you don't have family outings. Means you are locked down in your single room for the maximum number of time. You lose your friends. And yes, there's not much of a money to be made for quite a long number. For maybe for somebody it's 2 years, somebody it's 8 years, somebody it's 15 years. There's no guarantee that even after 10 years you will make decent money. And it's a wrong notion that all entrepreneurs make money. People in job makes more money also. So if somebody is prepared to for all these sacrifices, and it should not be seen as a sacrifice, it's a way of life, then yes, one should get into it, that this is a way of life. I'm willing. It's like, being a monk. A monk sacrifices everything and lives. So he doesn't complain that, I'm missing all these things. So even an entrepreneur should not complain that I'm missing all these things. So we should live like that.
Before I end this, I want to ask you, to all the young entrepreneurs who are aspiring to be startup owners, to be entrepreneurs. So, what do you have to tell to them? What they have to focus upon? Is it important to have a risk-free career, or is it important to just take risks and go forward with it?
See, I definitely cannot generalize or talk on behalf of anybody, because my shoe size is different from your shoe size. So my principles will not fit anybody. But what I have learned, I can only share. So one thing is, even for if it's a girl or a boy, whoever it is, till 30 is a time when there is somebody to take care of you, means your parents. We did not shy even till 30 that if our parents are taking care of us, so we can take a risk. So in India we have something called a marriage age, which we all go through when somebody's turning 30. Till then, this is something, a best thing to do is entrepreneurship. Maybe after that, once somebody gets into a relationship or a family life, maybe he or she would say, okay, let me not take a risk. So whenever you get a chance, take a risk, go for it, give it a shot. Maximum what will happen is you will fail, but the failure will teach you so many things. Because today, maybe I'm not rich by bank balance, but I'm so rich with my experience. All my friends with bank balance are poor in front of me. I have amazing failures, which means I can teach so many people what not to do. So one will be richer with failure. So one should go for it, because that will help them after they're 30, 35, and 40. So today, all my past failures are helping me today. So I would say go for it, take a risk. And as you take risk, the appetite for taking risk increases. Then you start doing amazing things.
That's wonderful, sir. I am totally inspired, and I hope all the viewers watching the show today are inspired too. Thank you so much for joining Inspire Me today. And this was wonderful interaction with you. It gave us great learnings for life. And thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Savira, and your entire team at Startup TV. Thank you for having me.